So could you just give us, first of all, your assessment of the government's handling of all of this?
Well, it's not just my assessment, but it's also the assessment of, I think, the majority of young people and their parents right across Scotland who think this has just been an absolute shambles from the start, John. And I think the reason for that is that we've been warning for a very long time that this was going to happen. I sit on the Holyrood's Education Committee. We took numerous evidence sessions during the lockdown in virtual sessions where we listened to the SQA, we grilled the Cabinet Secretary on these issues. And I think it was quite clear a long time ago that we warned that this could happen. There could be a huge amount of appeals if it didn't go well. And lo and behold, last week when they announced the results, given that we didn't know what the methodology was, even though we had demanded they publish it, when they did publish it and they published the awards, there were huge amounts of very unhappy young people who were staring down the barrel of a very difficult future and a very uncertain one. I mean, my view really, John, is that this has been handled appallingly right from the very beginning, and we knew this was coming.
So your view then, from early on, not just now, as a response to the turmoil now overtaking the government on this issue, your view has been for a long while that allowing grades to be downgraded on the basis of a school's performance, that was always going to be unfair to bright children, especially in poor areas.
It's unfair to all pupils. I mean, there is a stark difference here. If you look at the numbers, that those in our most deprived communities had their grades downgraded by double the rate of those in the top percentile of wealthiest areas. So in other words, if you're in a difficult part of the country where the attainment gap is wider and you face the most challenges in life, your grades were downgraded more than anyone else's. I mean, where is the fairness in that? And that's something that we didn't know about until it happened. And I think it was really just the scale of it. There were, 75% of grades received some sort of alteration. Nobody quite expected this to come at the scale at which it did. It took us all by surprise, but more importantly, it took the young people themselves by surprise. People who'd sat prelims and did terribly well, people who their teachers had submitted great estimates based on coursework, based on the history of that pupil, only for all of that simply to be washed away by an algorithm that stated that, where your school is or the historic performance of your school would ultimately decide your grade, and that's just not fair in any world.